So I'm going to take a couple minutes right now and describe to you my concept and philosophy on activity tracking. So as a recap, you've developed your ideal client, you figured out what your value proposition is, and then you've determined your personal brand or the way you're going to go out into the public and represent yourself to generate real estate business. So what you don't know yet is what it takes to be successful as a realtor. By that I mean the activity that it takes, doing 20 things a day, making 10 calls, making 15 calls, texting 10 people, posting here, posting there. The activity that you are doing now needs to be measured. So I've talked about expectations as they relate to budget. So you can't budget yet because you don't know what it takes to make money. So you do set your personal expectations. Now I want to show you what I use personally. I've used it for 7 years. I've used it for multiple businesses, and it helps me, especially when I'm starting something out, determine how successful I can be with whatever it is. So I'll show you this spreadsheet. It's super simple. I call it the activity spreadsheet. Copies are posted everywhere inside of the Excellence Academy documents module. So you can just click there and download. I try to upload it every month with the dates and everything else. But let me show you how it works. So imagine starting in our business on August 1st. If you start to understand what it takes and what kind of activity you do, so let's say you do 10 activities. So maybe that is 10 calls, or maybe that's 10 posts or 10 likes. Whatever you want to measure, you measure that. Next day, 20 again. Next day, 11. Next day, you're down to 4. Next day, you're up to 30 again. And you just start rolling. So 30, 20, 40, whatever the count is, this spreadsheet adds up the number of activities that you've done. And I've kind of put this out so it doesn't include the whole month, sorry. And I've set an expectation that I do 1,000 a month. So it's just roughly around 30 a day. But I start to track my activity. Now, at the beginning, you're just literally tracking activity and finding out that you may have a paycheck right away, but you may not. If you continue to track your activity every single day, and then you see a paycheck, let's say $7,000 net paycheck on the 13th, suddenly you have a magic number here, and that's right here, $15.52. So you know every one of these activities is worth $15.52. So you can make these activities anything you want to make them as long as you stay consistent. But this is going to be a constant and an absolute constant constant idea that I'll refer back to. The best performing realtors in the academy have kept their activity tracking. And the reason you do, and the reason I do it 7 years, 6 years later, is that it allows me to understand exactly, what I need to do every day. So let's say you're on track for 1,000 and then you have a couple slow days. That's fine. Just make up for it. So, 50 task activity day. And then just keep your activity up so you see what your figure is per activity. Okay. Like I said, I just want to reiterate, you may be doing activity for 3 months, hopefully not, but let's say in the worst case, you're doing activity for 2 months, keeping track of it with no revenue, so you just don't know this number. But I will tell you that vast majority of our agents who are using the activity tracking are right around, they begin right around $10. So you could start today by want to make and just figuring out at $10 per activity. So 10 by 10 today would be a $1 day, $300 day, $1 day, $200 day, $110 day, $40 day, $300 day. It will help begin to motivate you and to keep you on track. So there's the members in the academy right now. You would be able to ask any one of them their dollars per day is, and they'll give you a number, and you can start to budget with that. Because you probably won't have revenue in that first 20 days in this example, You probably will at some point. So I don't mess around with it. I just literally keep my activity every day. And then at the end of the day, if there's no revenue, it doesn't matter. But at some point, there's going to be revenue. So even though this particular day, Saturday, August 10th, didn't result in any specific revenue, if I had a check going into the bank that date, I'd just dump it in that date. And everything starts to average out over time. But I would strongly that you start the activity tracking inside, just below in this actual session. I'll draw down a link. You can use it immediately. You can wait to use it. But I always tell people, and this happens a lot, people don't actually figure out the value of this until 2 or 3 months in. Better than never. But what invariably happens is these realtors who are 3 months in don't even know how many activities they're performing in a day, and then what the results of those activities are. So if you're starting day one, I'll put this hard on you. Make sure you start activity tracking and do it for yourself, and do it so that you know what every activity results in. So if you are to make phone calls, you know every call is whatever let's call it 7,000, I think is the number. Oh, 70,000. If we use that 7,000 number and we have a $14.08 per call, you know that if you make 100 calls, you're making $1,400 that day. And this works extremely well. It's extremely accurate. People who do use it are able to predict their future, and they're able to then set out reasonable expectations. So understanding this number and will help you determine what the reasonable expectations you can make. So if you want to get to 15,000 or 20,000, or for that matter, you need to do 1,000 at 14,000, $14. So hopefully that explains activity tracking to a certain extent. Please use it. It will benefit you immensely over time, and the spreadsheets will just be in the piece below. If you don't understand it, reach out, let me know. Thanks.